Hello there, hope you're doing well. The world over, doctors and health practitioners have been worried about the increasing numbers of children with obesity. It's a huge matter of concern. And today on Your Baby Doctor, we will be focusing on obesity. Why does it happen? Why do children end up in that condition? And what do we do as parents and caregivers to enable the behaviors that prevent them from shedding the weight that may eventually kill them? You want to join me today? Dr. Koy and I will be back. Do stay.
When you enter any of our Koy facilities, you will be met by our pleasant front desk officers, where your child will be registered in our system, after which you will be led to the nurses station. Our competent nurses will triage your child and the needed first aid care will be given when necessary. Your next point will be the consulting room. Our proficient and friendly doctors will examine your child and give the appropriate diagnosis and treatment. From the consulting room, you may require the services of our laboratory, which is managed by highly skilled laboratory scientists, and then to our well-equipped pharmacy. When it becomes necessary to admit your child, you will be nursed in either our general ward or private ward according to your preference. At Koy, we aim at giving you the best, your child's well-being, our passion.
Hello there. Thank you so much for staying on The Baby Doctor with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Today, we are talking about obesity in children. I'm sure you have seen a child or two and wondered why their weight has, gone unchecked. Today, we'll be talking about that. And for those of you who have obese children, or for those of you who have been trying to help your children shed some weight, you want to stay with us throughout because Dr. Koy will be sharing some ideas with us to help our children live healthy lives. Remember that for us here at Baby Doctor, we always say that healthy children create happy children, which makes the home generally happy. And that's what we are all about. Hello, Doc. We are back again.
Yes, we are. And it's good to be back again.
Yes. And Doc is a pediatrician. She's been practicing for almost 3 decades, is it?
Yes.
Generally. And then for pediatrics, you've been doing
it's 2 decades and more.
Doc, today we're talking about obesity. It's a big problem globally. In the past, when you spoke about obesity, even in adults, it was usually attributed to the West because that's where you usually saw huge people who needed aid in walking, mobility devices because their weights were over the required limits. But we are seeing that here in Ghana, especially with our children. We know some will say that, this is a naturally big person born into a family of big people. So what exactly is obesity so that we are sure in not to put people in a category they don't belong to? What is obesity?
Obesity, simply put, is when we talk about your body mass index.
Right.
That is just comparing your height and your weight. And then we put a formula to it. And so for a growing child, for every age group, there is an expected normal, okay? And so when you go beyond 85 percentile, we'll say percentile, that is when we pick children of your age and we put their weights down and we compare yours, you are above 85% of them, up to 95%, then we say you are overweight.
Okay.
And when you hit 95 and above, we say you are obese. So that means when we look at your size, 95% of your classmates are way smaller than you are. And so you are above, only 5% can compete with you. And then we say you are obese.
So this is determined. You have to diagnose obesity. Is that it? Because so I can't sit at home and determine that my child is obese. They may be overweight, but not obese. So this must be declared by.
Clinically, you must be, yes. I mean, it's online.
Okay.
So you can actually weigh and then also check the height, put it into the formula.
Okay.
And then you compare it to his age group. There's a center. But if you want a professional diagnosis, then you have to go into hospital.
Okay.
I know sometimes you see a very big, just that, I mean, with your eyes, if your child is so big, you know. Okay, so you can easily tell that this person is way bigger than his peers. Yeah, so you can use your eye, but scientifically, when we are saying obesity, I mean, if a pediatrician is saying somebody is obese, she should be able to tell me what percentile the child is on. That word itself has a stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
It has psychological implications. It has health implications. And so you cannot just say, I feel you are obese and get away with it.
But what causes obesity? Because, you know, you're talking about an average in the class, but there are some people who are tall, they're huge. So you look at their mates and they look huge, taller, not necessarily overweight or big. But what causes obesity in children?
Okay. So before I answer what causes obesity in children, those who are huge, their BMI will not put them in the obesity category.
Because you're measuring the height.
Height and the weight.
Okay.
And so if you are from a home where your parents are tall and they are huge, you may not be obese.
Okay.
By definition. In simple terms, you become obese or overweight when you consume more than you are using. And so we eat to have energy to use. If you eat more than the energy you are using, the extra will have to be stored as fat and you become obese eventually. So today I store some, tomorrow I will store. Every day I'm eating more than I need to. So I continue to store. In fact, the truth of the matter is that because I never lack in food, there's nothing like this fat that will be stored will be used later. Because I'm constantly I constantly have access to food. And so I'm eating all the time. So the fat continues to build up. And then you begin to put them in the wrong places as well. So in simple terms, when you consume more than you are using, the excess will be stored in your body. And then you will put on weight. And eventually, as the weight adds on, you move from normal to overweight. And then as you continue to add on, then you graduate from overweight to obesity.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Doc, is it simply a lifestyle issue, or there are persons who are predisposed to being obese, like a certain medical condition, their genetic makeup? Are there people like that?
Yes. There are people like that. And so the causes of obesity, I will put in 4 broad categories. The first one is those who are eating a lot. So you are eating more calories than you need. And then the second cause is lack of activity. You know, I told you that you are eating to use it.
Right.
So, you know, that's why we have this word couch potato. You stay in the couch, watch movies, and you become round like a potato, right? Yes. Because you keep eating, nibbling, but you are not using it for anything. All you are doing is using the remote to flip from one channel to the other, one channel to the other. What energy do you use in that? Very little. Yes, so that's the second cause of obesity, childhood obesity that we are seeing. And then also lack of sleep is a cause of obesity. People don't attribute much to that, but it's one of the known causes in our space now. And then also the genetics. There are some who are prone or who have some genetic makeup that makes them accumulate more fat.
Those, sorry to interject, but is it those who we are told, struggle to break down because so I have a slow metabolic. We say a lot of things when it comes to
which is
weight
true.
issues.
Yes.
Does that include people
It
like that?
includes people like that. But the beauty of it is if you have a low metabolic rate, that means you have to eat less.
Okay.
Because bottom line, if you don't gobble it down, then there's nothing called extra. Okay, so whatever your metabolic rate is either you are helping it increase by exercising or you are reducing how much you eat. Yes. And so that's it. And then there are people who have genuine diseases and so they have no control. And when we sort out the medical problem, the weight will go. So that's it. But the genetic and the medical are the minority. For the genetic predisposition, I always say that yes, if you know you have the predisposition, then it behoves on you, the parent, to protect your child.
Okay.
Because there's nothing beautiful about having a family where everybody is diabetic or hypertensive and is overweight, and then you do the same to your child. You have not been responsible as a parent. So that's what I would say. But these are the four main causes. Yes, I've put them in the 4 groups. Yes.
Why are we increasingly seeing more children reporting to the hospitals with obesity? What's the attributing factor?
Yes, so we realize that our numbers have also been increasing, and it's worrying because at first we were dealing with undernutrition, and now while some are grappling with undernutrition, the other group are also in the overnutrition stage. So in both ways, we have nutritional issues. And recently, a study done, I think 2 years ago in Accra, showed that about 11% of children were obese, not even just overweight. And nationwide, yes, and nationwide, we have about 19% of children overweight and obese, which is worrying. That means out of every 5 children, 1 is overweight or obese. That's what it means. And this has health implications for these children. For us in Ghana, the obese are in the higher socioeconomic group. Yeah, so the more affluent the families we have, the more likely you will find obese children within those families. And that is quite worrying because you would expect that it should be reversed. But in Ghana, the more affluent we are, the more we indulge, and the more we crave to be westernized, and we don't count the cost. We've not stopped to read and to see what has happened to the Western countries when they adopted some lifestyles. But maybe we used to see them on the screen and used to fantasize that when we get rich, we will do same. So as soon as we got a little more disposable income, we've just gone to town. And everything we see on the screen, we want to practice in our homes. But then there's a downside to it. So that's what is happening now. And it gives us cause for concern.
We're just trying to draw your mind to this very worrying situation. And much later, you would hear Doc talking about the further health complications that these children have to suffer now or maybe later in life as a result of unchecked weight, i.e. obesity. So Doc, I mean, but why are we increasingly seeing this in children? What exactly is causing the trend?
Okay, I think it's multifactorial. One, as a nation, we as a people, we are becoming more and more sedentary, and especially in the cosmopolitan or urban or peri-urban areas, we are driving more, and people are leaving home and staying in traffic for long hours. There's very little physical activity. Yes. And so with less, and then also I think we are becoming more and more protective as parents. Sometimes we are bordering on paranoia because of happenings around. And so if she ever heard that somebody's child got lost, then none of her children will step outside the house.
Not even to play football or play with the boys in the neighborhood or girls in the neighborhood.
Now we live in neighborhoods when we don't even know our next door neighbor. Or the children don't talk to each other. They see each other being whisked away in cars. And if he wants to go and buy something, either the house help or the nanny is going to buy it. Or sometimes we actually drive, the driver takes him to the junction. to buy. If they are going to the salon, which is like 10 minutes walk, the child will be driven to the salon, waited for, and then brought home.
Paper.
Yeah, because maybe we are afraid a car will knock them. So these are so we've become more and more sedentary. We're spending long hours in school, going for extra classes, come home tired, and then when they come home, instead of doing any activity, they slam in the couch, and then they want to unwind on the screen. And so so if you look at a day of such a person, if there's no sporting activity in school for which he is required to run, then there's no activity. So whatever he eats, apart from the little he's using to manage the body, as in walking, thinking, all the rest will be stored as fat. So that's one of the causes. The other thing is that the more we can afford, the more westernized we want to become when it comes to our food choices. And so in Ghana, local dishes are more for the poor. If you have resources, then you're going for sausage. These are all processed food. You are going for your fried rice. You are buying pizza. The children are having chips. You can't imagine a child taking kose to school for a snack. But then that is even better. But he will go for crepes. He will go for all these fancy snacks on the shelf. Also, we are not sleeping much. We are allowing our children to have as much time as they want. And, you know, some children even have TVs in their bedrooms. And, and they will just say, go and sleep. Turn off the TV and sleep. Then mommy and daddy goes to their bedroom to sleep. And you think those children are going to sleep?
No.
They turn on the TV. And they know when your door opens, you are coming. So we turn off the TV. Or there's a tablet that is under the pillow. So these are some of the issues that are really making it worse for us now. Yes. And we are all going for the wrong thing because we think it's a status thing. And if your child wants it, we should give it. And I think I must add, one of our major problems now is parents have stopped taking charge. And I don't know why we think it's okay to let the child have it. One response I always say is, that's what they like, doc. When you go to the shop, that's what they will pick. But I'm yet to see a parent who will let her child walk into fire and not scream. And so if you are that committed to getting your child out of harm's way, as in fire, then why are we then allowing them to kill their whole body?
Maybe because we haven't addressed our minds to the fact that what they're doing daily will end them
I
up.
think that is where the problem is. We think that is okay. Oh, these modern children, they always want to eat pizza. Oh, these children, that's how they are. You go and all the children are having some. So you don't want your child to be left out. But then I think as we go on that route, let's remember that when we see other people's children jump into fire or into the sea, and you know your child cannot swim, you do everything in your power as a parent to protect that child. And I think that should be our posturing going forward if we want to change the trend of events and
Doc,
protect
I
our
remember
children.
when we were talking about feeding in children, and you gave that very interesting advice about trying to incorporate our local ingredients in what we prepare for our children because they acquire a taste. And then when they grow, it becomes difficult for them to try other foods or detach themselves from what they already know. So there may be somebody watching us who's now learned that, okay, these things that I do may not help my children, exposing them to these type of meals and all that. Now they want to reverse the trend. Usually that's where the difficulty is, right? What are the first steps to take? And I'm looking at a home setting. I'm looking at a parent or a caregiver who is desperately trying to help this child save their life. They may have reached the teenage years now, where it's almost always complicated at that stage. How should they start the process?
Okay, I think I'm going to be real here. And I'm not going to be sitting here and be high and mighty or righteous, yes. So some of the comments I'll give will be things that I have drawn off from personal experience and then also professional experience. Yes, I don't think I want any parent to beat him or herself up thinking that, oh, yes, I've caused it and so now there's nothing to be done. take responsibility. Yes, you are part of the problem. But then often I see parents telling the children, stop eating, you're eating too much. Aren't you full? And then we are still leaving them to eat. Okay? That is where we are not being helpful as parents. It's a lifestyle change. And so you cannot expect your child not to eat it when you continue to buy the things. Our children don't have money. Parents have the money. Parents buy the things. Parents do grocery shopping. And so now we all have to sit as a family and renegotiate on the things we are going to eat. I am not going to stop anything totally, but then we negotiate. We got to a point where we had bread eating days in my home. Yes, because I know bread is white. It's just not healthy. And they love bread. So we negotiated. We had days that we ate bread. And as we were having the negotiation, I had at the back of my mind what I wanted to achieve. And so I said, okay, 3 days a week. And I selected the days when they go into school and they do sports. Okay. So I know that on that day when she eats bread, she's going to run.
Burn it out. That's a smart one.
But that was mommy being smart.
Yeah.
Okay. And so because I didn't say no bread, I didn't get much of a revolt. I said we were going to, reduce our slices, and then we are going to have bread eating days. Okay. And we agreed on the days and put it on a timetable and pasted it on our fridge. And so if you wanted bread, I said it's not a bread eating day. And after 2 years of doing that, the appetite for bread just went down. Okay. Okay. And so I think it's doable. Vegetables, I know people say he will take all the vegetables out. When he's a baby, I will blend it into the food. When he grows older, we negotiate. If you want more jollof, you finish your vegetables. And sometimes I tell them, eat your vegetables like medicine. Eat the vegetables first and take your time and enjoy your protein and your jollof. The beauty of the story, by the time he's cleared the leaves, is going to occupy some important space. So as he takes his time to enjoy his jollof, there's a limit to how much jollof he can add. Okay. So these are a few practical ways to kind of manage the situation. So one, get to know what is healthy, know the things that are home that are not healthy, and then make a conscious effort to reduce the proportion of the unhealthy in the house. Okay. And increase the proportion of the healthy. If we don't like eating yam, let's negotiate on days that we'll eat yam as a family and reduce the fried rice. And if it's twice a week, it's better than none. Good. Then the yam days, we choose our sources such that people are not too miserable.
Yes, and it's not boring.
It's not boring. When we say vegetables and every day you are cooking cabbage for them to chew, it's emotionally draining. Okay? Some may like cabbage, some may like carrots, some may like peas, some may like lettuce. Yeah. Yes, so we manage. Some like tomatoes. Yeah. Yeah, so we negotiate. Today we'll eat Kweku's food. Tomorrow we'll eat Ya's preference. The day is not your favorite, eat a bit. And by and large, you realize that, yes. And I must add, another method is also to let children drink a lot of water before and during eating. There's this rule about don't drink any water till you finish eating, please. There's
Thank
no
you
real
for bringing that
science
in, because I was
behind
just going to ask, because we are told usually eat your meal, and some even say after 30 minutes, that's when you drink water.
I answer it this way. God, who gave us breast milk, gave us 80% water at the start. And so can we replicate that in our lives? Okay. So drink water, eat, and when you want to help your child, halve the food that he used to eat. Half the carbohydrate. Too drastic? No, half the food for starters. Wow. And when when he's done and he wants more, I will tell you drink water. And then when he comes, I gave him a quarter of a serving as add-on. Okay. Trust me, by the time he's done with the quarter, the water and all have kicked in and he begins to feel full. You know, most of the time when we eat, initially we are okay. 30 minutes, 15 minutes down the line, we feel so full. We are struggling to breathe. Yes, that means you overate. So normally if I allow the child to take his or her time to eat, drink in between before he comes for more, he is not likely to come for a third serving. Because by then, he's feeling full. And so it's not like a drastic painful
It's
journey.
strategic.
It's strategic. And what I even do is sometimes I increase your vegetable and reduce your carbohydrate.
Okay.
Because I know the monsters and I'm reducing the monsters and I'm bringing in the others that you like. But I'm not going to wake up one day and say, this is all you are eating. Take half. You are overeating. You are putting on too much weight. No. The child will revolt. Because that is not fair to him. And after all, who bought him the food? I know I sound controversial today.
No, you don't
But
actually. You're giving us just what we need to make the children healthy. So, Doc, from your earlier submission about what we can do to prevent our children from getting obese, I get the sense then that it must not just be a lifestyle change for that child. It must be the whole family adopting this change so that the child doesn't feel left out. Because if you're saying, I can't have a sausage, but my brother or my sister is having a sausage, then I feel that you're not being fair to me, or you're picking on me because I'm overweight.
Absolutely. And so I will smuggle and eat the sausage. Or I will begin to resent everybody because you are cheating me. That's how children will think. And so it's a lifestyle change. And trust me, more often than not, when you see obese children, you see daddy has a pot belly, mommy is also full, mommy is also big. So it's not often that you see one child who is overweight or obese and is the exception in the family. If there's one exception, then you may want to find out whether there's a genetic
or
medical reason, because if they are all eating the same thing, or what is happening now, mommy is eating healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
She's doing all her smoothies and things to look good.
And her keto diet.
A keto diet, but that diet, I don't even want to go there.
That's another topic for another day.
But mommy is so obsessed with her model figure, but then she's left everything in the hands of caregivers, and she thinks they can feed on what they want because they want it. But she knows better. But no, you were privileged to have a parent who couldn't afford the luxuries then. And so they didn't feed you with as much as you are able to feed your children. You may have felt deprived, but they saved your life.
Yes.
And so now when you have the resources, you have to be responsible in the choices, because look, now chicken is not what will break your bank account as a parent. When we were children, chicken was a ceremonial thing. A child never got drumstick. Now children can have 4 drumsticks
at a time.
And so you will have to manage it. So if there's any lifestyle change, the whole family has to. If we are taking sausage out, nobody eats sausage in the house. If we have to take chicken out, please, chicken is healthy. I'm not saying it's not. Nobody's eating it. If we want to have grilled chicken, everybody eats grilled. We can't fry for everybody and give him one miserable boiled one and say you are losing weight. That's stigmatizing. Okay, so that's how it is. Family. If you talk about eat vegetables and you, mommy, cannot eat vegetables, then your action is so loud that your sermon cannot be heard.
I like that.
So please.
We'll allow you to think about that. We'll allow you to settle in. What Doc just said is so outstanding. And we need to realize that we are the best examples for the children as caregivers and as parents. We'll be back to talk about how we can socially help children. We'll deal with bullying and the stigma, and even how sometimes as parents and caregivers, the utterances that we make can emotionally destabilize these children. Do stay with us here on The Baby Doctor.
When you enter any of our COI facilities, you will be met by our pleasant front desk officers, where your child will be registered in our system, after which you will be led to the nurses station. Our competent nurses will triage your child, and the needed first aid care will be given when necessary. Your next point will be the consulting room. Our proficient and friendly doctors will examine your child and give the appropriate diagnosis and treatment. From the consulting room, you may require the services of our laboratory, which is managed by highly skilled laboratory scientists, and then to our well-equipped pharmacy. When it becomes necessary to admit your child, you will be nursed in either our general ward or private ward according to your preference. At COI, we aim at giving you the best, your child's well-being, our passion.
Thank you so much for staying here on The Baby Doctor with me, Bernice Abubeidulan. So today we are talking about obesity in children. Doc has established what it is, why it is caused, and how we can prevent it. Just before we took that breather, she gave us something to think about, and we'll be wrapping up on the ways to prevent your children from being obese or even help them manage and get out of the condition. So Doc, we've spoken about the dietary issues, how they're eating, but the lifestyle of an obese child goes beyond that. What are the other things we should be looking at and ensuring that they are doing?
Yes, so I think to conclude on the diet, which is one of our biggest nightmare, as parents, one, I've talked about we controlling what is available at home. And then also let's engage our children over and over again. Don't scold the child because he's eating so much, because you did the training when he was much younger. And so we've realized we have a problem. We have to talk through it. Sometimes you have to be stern, but then don't let the person feel so much a victim that he decides to find smart ways around it. Children will always be children though.
Yeah, they can be manipulative.
They can be very good at it. So let's manage and then portion control, portion management. Let's all agree on the portions. Even if you are not home, your house help or the nanny should know what the required portion is. Sometimes they are also terrible. You ask them to give a ladle and they will give 4 ladles.
They are more, Doc, it happens that sometimes the children and the nannies are friends, and the nannies are very simple. Oh, give me, when mommy comes, give me, you give me this one last time. And then they get sympathetic and,
I saw it in my home at a point when my children were virtually gobbling down double what they used to because they had this very sweet nanny that they were. And of course, when she made them happy with food, then they also did not report some of her. So it was a win-win.
Treat.
But then, yeah, so I think these are some of them. Sometimes when you let your housekeepers know what is at stake, they also know better. And I realized that when you, the parent, is a good role model, even your nannies, when they come initially, they are eating so much. They look at your portions and then they begin to reduce their portions subconsciously. Because they realize that it's not ladylike to eat so much. Because they always want to be like madam, somehow. And so that's one of the things we can do. And then also some of the food like breakfast, these sweetened sugar-coated cereals that we buy in boxes and make available, we should not. After school snacking can be discouraged. We should have dinner early so that if the child comes home, food is ready. If food is not ready, the hungry child will go into the fridge and pick whatever is available. He will take a big slice of bread. He's hungry. Yes, so we should get healthy snacks available. If there are only fruits in the fridge and smoothies and maybe a few dry nuts or something, he will pick on a few and then dinner should come early.
So even kose, like you mentioned, I never thought about it, that kose could be a snack. Yes.
It's a good snack.
Very nutritious.
Yes. And so he picks on that and dinner will be ready soon. And of course, when he's not famished, he doesn't overeat.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes when you are going to pick them, instead of buying all these ice creams and things on the way, put some fruits in there. Put some apples or grapes or something because you're affluent, so you can afford grapes. And then let them pick on them. It will take care of some of the hunger pangs. So when they get home, they don't binge on the food. And you continue to encourage.
And so Doc is touching here on the things that we do as caregivers and parents to enable the behaviors that allow children to get obese.
Yeah, so you have to use your senses. Continue to encourage the child. And then if it's a family event that we are all doing, then they become a check on each other. So it's always interesting. One sibling will come and report how the other one took 2 portions of something which everybody is supposed to take one of. And then you can address it. So these are some of the things. Be aware of what is giving you trouble. the refined grain, and then bring in the healthy things, the vegetables and the fruit. Don't make it so miserable. But let's encourage ourselves that we are all going to do it together. And then with that, you can add the other things like exercise and others. So you can tell that I have not said no to any food in particular, but reduce the proportion. Some of them we can get out of the house without missing them. The cereals that are all sugar-coated, get them out.
But Doc, you just brought my mind to something. Our children seem to be a reflection of us. Just that because they're in a vulnerable state and because they may not be exerting as much energy as we are, they seem to be bearing the brunt harder than us. I'm saying this because you talk about exercising, and I'm wondering to myself, how many parents even exercise? So the children don't have any example to follow. So here again, if you're singling out that child or your children and say they should exercise, what are you doing as a parent? That will make it more difficult, as we have established.
That is true. But the interesting thing is, children naturally, when they are younger, love activity. We socialize them differently.
We are stifling that thing in them.
Yes, because we put in other measures that make them no more do what they would have done by default. If there's no source of entertainment and you leave a bunch of children in a room, when you find them busy playing. They're either doing hide and seek, I'll throw the ball at you, something. And you come and they are all laughing, sweating. You would never come and find 4 boys seated in a chair quietly 30 minutes after you left them with nothing to distract them. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They would have befriended each other, found something of common interest. By the time you get there, your sofa is more or less killed. If you're not careful, you'll be stopping on parts of your sofa to the room. So that's just to show that children between 3 to 5 are supposed to be active all around the whole day. That is how they've been wired. So whatever they eat, they are supposed to burn most of it.
Doc, you know what? I just feel that the stress of our generation is affecting our children more. Because for many parents, once they pick up the children, they're thinking of preparing the meal for the next day. And so they cannot even engage the child in the play. Because, usually children want to play with you. They want to see what you're doing, or you may need to have the time to look out for them. If they need to step out, they can't go on their own, especially toddlers, because their minds work in a very different way. So I get a sense, Doc, that we need to be very deliberate in ensuring that our children are healthy. Yes. Because it takes a lot of effort. Because all you're saying is hard work, even for the parent.
I totally agree. In the past, you didn't have to worry. It was a default posture for the child to exercise. Now you have to be deliberate. Or even dancing. You can put on music when they go home. We are all going to dance and show the best dance move.
That's a good one.
And then we laugh at it. Whilst you are preparing dinner, everybody can dance. Dancing. Yes. And then when your food is on fire, it's not too early, you also dance.
Okay.
And a few bad moves and everybody is laughing. But it bonds and you exercise. So it doesn't always have to be ballet or anything that you're going to pay for. No. Let's look for things around our home and of course, it's okay for your child to go to the neighbor's house and play for 30 minutes whilst you are preparing a meal. Unless, of course, you are not sure of the kind of, how safe the child is in the neighbor's house, because some neighbors are a bit different from what you would expect, yes. So those are some of the few, but I know you have to be deliberate, trust me. There are times you have to walk with them. Yeah. We decide to have family walk after dinner. If your neighborhood is safe after dinner, can you walk for 30 minutes in the safe neighborhood? Let them run around. And because then you get them to fill you in on school. You also get to know what is going on in their mind. Sometimes I listen to stories about friends in school and I have an idea of the issues they are grappling with. And then you can chip in and have your opinion. So I think we have to be deliberate. Look for football. Get a ball. If it's an only child, it becomes a bit tricky. But if they are 2 or 3, they can always play the football. Create a safe space in front of you. If that small pouch, they can play pole to pole across.
We'll dedicate on a later day a whole episode to talking about screen time and the effects, psychological, emotional, physical, all the effects of screen time, because there again, Doc, sometimes it's a status symbol. I bought an iPad for my son and my daughter, so I mean it's a status thing. Or kill the stress. I mean, I just came back from work. You're disturbing me. Go watch TV or go on your tablet or something. But that's also affecting them, and it's causing inactivity, which inadvertently leads to obesity.
Yes, which is yes. And you know, now our friends even tell us that, wow, why haven't you bought some for your child? And you are not going with a trend. You are not going with a trend. And so I think we just have to be aware of what these things do. One, I said sleep deprivation is also linked to obesity. Children should have about 9 to 11 hours of sleep, averagely 10. So if your child is not having 8 hours minimum, then you are in trouble. Okay? So what happens is sometimes we are waking up very early to go to school, coming home late, in between very short time to sleep. And then when the children come, they also go onto the TV because they think they've been out of the house the whole day. This is time to catch up. It's still sleep from them. And normally when you've been on the screen, it takes you much longer to unwind. Okay? So if you are already using all your time to commute, then TV during the week is not an option. Okay? Because the screen will take away the child's sleeping time. Or he sleeps and wakes up to go and watch TV. So he doesn't have continuous sleep. Well, how do you become obese when you are not sleeping? It's because when you stay up late, then the hunger hormones kick in. You know that when you stay up late, you pick a lot.
Yes.
Because you're hungry and you have to eat. Yes. If you sleep by 8, you are not hungry by 10 p.m. If you stay up, that's when you are now in the fridge looking for nibbles,
the next snack.
looking for snack, looking for this, and that's what happens. And also, if you don't sleep at night as you should, the insulin that we know, yes, you begin to produce unnecessary quantities at night. It works so hard, but there's no activity. So then you store more fat.
Right.
Okay, yes. And so we know that if you don't sleep well, it affects your weight.
Doc, obesity in itself is a challenge, but what are the other complications that children with obesity are likely to have?
Good. That's the question that we have to answer. The challenge with obesity is that it affects a lot of our systems. Okay? And so a child who is obese, as he or she grows up, is likely to have heart problems, heart diseases, is likely to have diabetes. That's the type 2. The type 1 diabetes, where you don't have any choice but to be on insulin, is a disease. In fact, that one, the children don't have any control over. But type 2, when your children have to take diabetes tablets and other things, then it is more of lifestyle induced. And so it increases their risk. When a child has a lot of fat, they begin to have liver disease. The fat goes into the liver and begins to give them problems. They have respiratory disease. Some of them, they sleep and they wake up. They have sleep apnea. Some have asthma attacks because of poor sleep. And I mean, it's
a host of them.
Yes, the bones, you have joint problems. As they grow, they have joint problems, the knees, and things because you overwork the joints. And so the cartilage and other things wear out. And then also they become they attain puberty earlier than you want.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so a baby is now menstruating and you are helpless.
A baby?
Not a baby as
like,
a baby, but your baby.
In terms of
your baby. Your baby, because in your mind you think...
She hasn't gotten there yet.
Yes. So you were in denial when she was putting on weight. Oh, it's baby fat. It's baby fat. Then one fine day you wake up and the baby fat is now, and
permanent
you have a
fat.
girl, yes, who is menstruating, and you are now grappling to know what to do. So obesity, when you eat so much, you attain puberty earlier than usual. Yes, that's one thing we know. And then of course we have poor self-esteem. The child who is overweight has a poor self-esteem. She's self-conscious. She becomes a victim of bullying. and people are always making fun of her.
Yes, that's
And
problematic.
she begins to avoid public places, and it's negative. It's negative. And when the mental well-being is affected, it affects school performance. It affects he or she attaining his or her potential, because she thinks everybody's going to laugh at him. And I don't think we want that for our children.
So the effects are not only physical, there's also the emotional bit of it. And in our understanding of obesity, Doc, we also understand that it is harder for children especially to get out, or even adults, when they don't have the social support systems. And so once they are emotionally drained, it even becomes more difficult to deal with the situation. We will go and take our tips. When we come back, I'll just let you wrap up or summarize everything we've spoken about today, obviously with the hope that young children with obesity will be able to turn the tables around. Here are our tips for you today. We'll be back with more.
1. Children get obese when they consume more food than they need. 2. Physical activity is very important in preventing obesity. 3. Lack of sleep produces more fat deposits in bodies. 4. Children who are obese are likely to have diabetes, hypertension, joint problems, anxiety, depression, and many other diseases early in life. 5. Prevention of obesity is better than treatment.
Hello, do you have any questions for your baby doctor? Send a video or text to 0557 456 211. Would love to hear from you.
I hope you always keep those tidbits close to you, because they're very important, and that's why we deliver them to you every episode. This is the Baby Doctor, where all we are concerned about is that your children are healthy and hale. Today we've been talking about obesity in children and why it's important for you to know all about it. In wrapping up our conversation, Doc, I need to ask you this because it's very important. What's the correlation between birth weight and obesity later for children? And there are those who say that, oh, allow the kids, they will thin out, they will lose it. When they hit puberty, you see that they become very lanky and fine. So just allow them. This is just nothing to worry about.
Okay, that's a good question. I think for birth weight and obesity, I don't think there's any direct correlation. No. You could be big, but your birth weight does not justify a BMI. You know, I said obesity was BMI. And so, yes, you could be heavy at birth. You may be tall. Your height will be maintained, but that doesn't justify adding weight to the height. And so I think there's no direct correlation. There's no don't say because my child was 5 kilos at birth, he has the license to be 80 kilos at 10 years.
You've seen a child like that?
Yes.
80? At 10?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So that you are doing your child a disservice.
That's huge.
Yes. And then also this thinning out thing it's something that is costing us now. And I always say that when we, not too long ago in Ghana, by puberty, you went to boarding school. And when you've had whatever you want to eat in boarding school, you ate by the bell. And so somehow the school did for you what you couldn't achieve at home. You were given a strict diet. You didn't have more than necessary to eat. There was portion control. They served everybody the same quantity. And so by and large, you came from abundance to little. And so you thinned out. And then also the snack chobos or the cupboard had very few interesting things. If it's not Gary with shito, Gary with milk. Sardine, which was like, when you had sardine, it was like you had been given KFC. Oh, God. So, yeah, so then there wasn't much to nibble on. So you would thin out. And that was like 5-7 years of that. So you thinned out. But for now, they hit puberty at home. And they have more access. And at puberty, it's difficult to control them even at home. And so then you've already trained the child to eat so much. And now he has access to everything. So they continue to binge. If you look outside our country and you went abroad, the teenagers did not thin out.
No, they didn't.
Yes.
In fact, if you're exposed or you travel out, when someone tells you they're 16, you look at them again and like, wow.
Yes, and you look
16?
at yourself in the mirror.
Oh, wow.
Because, they look like your classmates. Yes, so that's what I would say, that we should be careful about thinking that if we don't fix the problem will fix itself, because we are not creating the environment that will make the problem fix itself.
Right.
But so we should just help our children to make healthy choices and let a child know this is an unhealthy meal. So when he's even having some of it, at the back of the mind, you hear that voice telling that enough of junk food. And, you feel guilty eating too much of junk after a while. But you eat all the same, but you know that you should not eat too much. So when you've eaten one today, you may not go the following day. So I think we should do that and protect our children. And I must say that if your child is looking thin, yes, he will thin out. But what happens to the fats in the blood vessels, the atherosclerosis and all the clots and plaques? So be mindful of that. A thin body does not necessarily mean healthy vessels. And so if you kill the vessels when he's younger, he will shed the body fat, but the vessels will stay sick.
Wow.
And we have a responsibility to our children, because we are investing so much in their education. We want them to make it more than we achieved. We want them to be comfortable. So protect their health, because when they make the money and all they do is spend it on medications, then you have not helped them.
Doc, I'm so grateful that you spoke about the bit on the vessels and the organs having fat around them. It's very important. You may not know your child is looking thin, like Doc said, and you don't have telescopic eyes to see what's happening beyond, what you can just see on the surface of their skin. So here's what you can do. Today we've been talking at length about obesity, but your problem is specific and you need tailor-made solutions. So here's what I want you to do, right? After the show, just do a quick Google search, COY Pediatrics, C-O-Y Pediatrics. You'll find the number, give them a call, book an appointment, or you can just walk into any of the facilities at Community 6 in Tema or Community 25. Doc and her team, such a wonderful team she's got there. They will attend to you. They've got a child-friendly environment. It's a children's specialist hospital. What else do you expect? And they run 24 hours. So just give Doc a call. Visit her facility. She's got therapists. She's got everybody needed to help your child overcome obesity. Or if you're a family that wants guidelines on how to, maintain a healthy lifestyle, you can do that. And most importantly, just get the kids checked, get their hearts checked, do the blood work, do everything, because there are things that you can never detect with your eyes. And here on the Baby Doctor Show, we are all concerned that your children should be happy, should be healthy, and that's why we dedicate time every day to bring you the experts to tackle very important issues. So a big thank you once again to Doc. Doc, so much love from our hearts to you. And also let me say thank you to Think Media, where we are bringing you this show from. It's your creative agency. It's your go-to agency. Are you planning an event? Do you need organization? Do you need trusses? Do you need stage? Do you need lights? Everything creative. Think Media is your expert. And to Azel Vogue, thank you so much. So this dress is from Azel Vogue, and some of you think it's a boutique. No, it's not. So she's a designer, right? She can give you tailor-made clothes for every event that you need good clothing for. And the quality and precision is top-notch. So you can call Azel Vogue on 0244155266. 0244155266. Tell Azel that you watched the Baby Doctor and you saw me. Or you can just check her out on Instagram. Azel Vogue is the name to type. Thank you so much for making time every day to be part of the show. We are here because of you. Once again, we are grateful. See you again in our next episode.